Hi guys, this is Jama Malmi and welcome to my first scrapbook page process video. I'm excited to share my process for creating this fun scrapbook page. I love this photo of my husband and my daughter and my son, who was I think about 1 month old in this picture, and my daughter just adores him. It was the cutest thing. So I was so happy to capture this moment. And he was wearing that cute little Monsters onesie, so I was really excited to play with this Jeepers Creepers paper from Close to My Heart with the monsters on it in a and I also mixed some other paper packs as well. This is the City Sidewalks paper pack, the green, and I believe the gray or the orange was from something else. This blue is from one of the fundamentals packs. So I mixed quite a few paper packs to get this look, and it was really fun. I showed at the beginning I have my iPad up for inspiration, and I had a page up from Karen Pedersen of a layout that I really liked of hers, and that's where the inspiration came from. So I had these white die cuts cut out from Close to My Heart's new Hearts die cuts, and I had just cut them in white, and I didn't like them in white, so I later decided to add some color. I was just playing with the layout, and now I'm trying to decide what color that I want my photo matted in. I went with just a solid green to match the green in the City Sidewalks paper. And so I'm going to double matte this photo to really make it stand out. It's a 5x7 photo, but I wasn't doing measuring when I cut per se. I just kind of eyeballed it, held the photo in there. So now I'm going to glue it down really well. And then glue all of the various strips down. Now I cut all the strips at different widths because I didn't want a uniform look. I wanted them all to be different. So when I cut each strip from each of the sample papers, I didn't cut them at a set width. I just eyeballed it for each one so they would all vary. And the paper that I cut from is actually from a sampler pack that I got from Close to My Heart. As a consultant, I can order a sample of every single paper that's available in the annual inspirations catalog and the seasonal inspirations catalogs. So they come 6x6 already, so I just cut strips from those, and makes it really easy to make layouts like this. I'm just really loving that Monsters paper. This paper, the Jeepers Creepers paper pack, is super cute for your Halloween layouts too, if you're going to be doing Halloween layouts. So that top piece didn't quite fit, so I just trimmed it off. And then I decided that I wanted a border on the inside of that paper because some of the edges were a little bit jagged. So I used the shimmer trim, which I love, one of my very favorite products from Close to My Heart. It is adhesive backed and it's shimmery, and I just love this stuff. I use it on pretty much everything. And now I'm deciding what colors I want to cut my heart thin cuts out of. And the great thing about Close to My Heart's new thin cuts, there's stars and hearts that actually just the hearts do this. So the hearts cut out a very thin, like heart border. You'll see after I cut this. So you actually, from each die, you get 2 cuts out of it. You'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. I was having a really hard time with this. I hadn't used my Cuddle Bug in a while. I do cricketing instead of thin cuts, and so I was trying to figure out what plates to put in. So you'll see I already popped out one of the hearts, and then the other heart is like an outline. So you get two hearts in one die. And the dies aren't that expensive either. They're like $14.95 or $11.95 for three sizes of hearts. And there's also stars, but the stars won't give you two stars out of one die because they're a different style. So I'm just cutting a bunch of colors of hearts. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to use at this point, but I'm just cutting a bunch out. And you can use either side of the paper. So like that black paper is black with white polka dots on one side and purple on the other. And I do end up using some purple and some black. I can't remember if I ended up in this layout with both, but I used both for something else. So I'm going to futz with the die cuts for a little while. Oh, and I futz, that was coming up on my trimmer, so I futz with that too. So I'm going to futz with the placement of the dies for a little bit until I finally decide which colors and sizes and that I want where. I am somewhat of a perfectionist, so when it comes to this kind of stuff, embellishing, it's the most fun for me, but it's also sometimes the most time consuming because I have to have everything placed just right. It takes me a long time sometimes. And then I decided that I wanted some banners up in the top corner, so that's what I'm doing now. But I'm going to futz with that for a while too. I cut them at varying widths to add some interest. And then want the black pieces, some shimmer trim to tie in the shimmer trim again. And then I'm actually going to add another heart up there as well. Lots of futzing to get it just right. I think I messed with this for the longest amount of time. If I weren't such a perfectionist, I'd get so much more scrapbooking done. All right, so this is one of the new fundamentals embellishment kits, and there's some of them are stickers and some of them are glitter pieces. That arrow right there is a glitter chipboard piece, and it tied in with the black shimmer trim. So I found the alphabet stamp that I wanted to use for my title. I love this set. It works with so many different things because it's sort of fancy, but it's whimsical at the same time. Can't remember the name of it right at the top of my head, but I'll add it in. I'll link to the products that I use down below. Sometimes it's easier to stamp just one at a time, but when I did that, I got some ink on the paper from the acrylic block. And it's kind of hard to see in the video, but there's a real thin line of black ink going down. And being the perfectionist that I am, I just could not handle it being there. So I was trying to scrape it away, and that wasn't working. So I just went about finishing the layout, and then you'll see how I fixed it in the end. It actually ended up being a good mistake. So then I got out this ink splat stamp set thinking, well, maybe I'll cover it up with some ink, and then I didn't like that idea, so I kept going again, glued the picture down, and started gluing everything down. This arrow drives me nuts right now because it's crooked, and I ended up fixing it off camera, but it's driving me nuts right now. That weird transition is because my battery died on my phone, and I had to, I missed a little bit on the video, sorry. But I'm back to messing with this little cluster up on the top and getting it just right. How many of you are perfectionists and need to get your clusters just right too? I bet it's a lot of you guys. Us crafters are often perfectionists. But I finally got it just how I wanted it, and I really like it in the end. I'll just trim off the excess from the top, and I really like that look. So then I decided that I needed another cluster of hearts up in the top, so I'm going to mess with that for a few minutes, and it didn't take me too long to get that how I liked it. I found that the glue pen works really well for gluing down those really thin outline hearts, because it's easy to get the glue pen on there and it sticks really well too. I worked on my craft mat so that when I got any adhesive down, and then I just got this Spectrum Noir glitter brush pen. So I was testing it out. I didn't realize it was going to be so bright. I got a pack of 3, and this teal, for some reason I was thinking it was going to be more faint, but it's not. So I went to my trusty Wink of Stella clear pen, and Close to My Heart actually has one like this now too. And I really like the just hint of glitter that this adds. It makes it real sparkly. So I'm going back and trying to fix that spot again, and this razor blade just is not doing the job. So I was trying to think, how else can I fix this? And I ended up getting out my white acrylic paint and just putting a little bit over it to cover the black for now. And then in a second, I'm going to get out some colored acrylic paint, and decided to do some splatters around the layout, and I really like how it ended up turning out. So it ended up sort of being a good mess up. I love it when that happens. Mess ups are often an opportunity to embellish. And so I got just, I keep a little baby food jars in my craft room, and filled it just with a tiny, tiny bit of water, and just dipped my paintbrush in it to get it wet, and mixed it in the lid, and that gave me just enough water. I splattered the paint just around the layout. The smaller the paintbrush, the smaller the splatters, and then I wanted to be sure I covered up that mess up spot, so I actually dotted the paintbrush on those spots too. And then again, it's hard to see, but I got some paint on the photo right next to that black heart, and then I ended up wiping it away, and it made an even bigger mess. So I ended up covering it up with these rhinestones. That bigger rhinestone on the right covered up the spot I didn't like. So again, an embellishment saves the day. And so I just added a few rhinestones around the page, and then that is going to finish it up. So I'll leave you with some still shots here, and I hope you enjoyed my layout.